Welcome to Bid on You, the podcast, where we help you navigate the chaos of life and experience the bliss of backing yourself. Hosted by yours truly, Marissa Lee. Every Friday, we sit down with creatives, artists, influencers, and just the regular folks to talk dating, adulting, faith, culture, and all the random thoughts in between. It's time to bid on you. So let's start the show. So, hey, y'all. Welcome back to Bid on You. We have got a phenomenal guest with us today. I'm going to do a little bit of, I don't know why the accent is still happening. We're going to do it a little different. Instead of a pre-intro, we're going to have, do you want they or she?
It doesn't matter.
Have her introduce herself because this one's going to be a little diff. It's going to be a vulnerable one. I don't know why it's like quiet in here. I'm like, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Cool. I don't think people do this often.
At all.
Or they can't.
The girls could never. Okay, so welcome back, and I'll have you introduce yourself to the people at home.
Welcome back. I've never been here.
Welcome in.
I'm glad you've been here.
Right.
My name is Aleyna Costello.
Period.
I'm from New York, upstate New York.
Rochester.
Rochester proud. I've been in Los Angeles for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I am a model, an actress, a writer. I literally work at Barnes & Noble right now.
A reader. A future author.
An educator. Yeah, actually, future author. Very
Period.
excited.
The list goes on and on.
Yeah. Friend, lover.
Daughter. Okay. It's giving Instagram bios. So
you know, like when people have those bios of like 3 things.
They're like Harley's mom, and you're like, okay.
And you are.
No
Good
shade to Harley's mom out there. But so we do this thing here called, it was Member of the Week, but update, we're changing it to Member of the Month. Right? So we can get into the hot topics naturally, because of course we have to just have a little bit of gossip before we dive in with us. So stick around. Today we're going to be talking about, did you hear something or did I make that up? The voices are talking. We're going to be talking about how to survive a friendship breakup and resurgence, if you will. Spoiler. So stick around. You don't want to miss it. So Member of the Month. Members. There we go. So for one, I want to talk a little bit about Cassie versus the Didmeister. Have you heard about this? Yes, you have. So Cassie sued P. Diddy, Brother Love, Puffy, Diddy, whatever you call him. Okay, yeah.
I was going to say, what?
I was like, when I start clarifying, you'll be there. And, you know, I was reading, actually, your state, New York, had this like basically legislation passed where statute of limitations was like you can sue or press charges, whatever, within this amount of time for like
a year. Yep.
Which is like,
they're taking it away.
They said you make your decision that night or you don't like forever hold your peace.
Yeah. And in the past, I think month, because this is the last month that they can do that.
Yeah. So which that's why like insane. Everybody's like, bah.
Yeah. And like, how traumatic.
Yeah,
you have to be like, oh, because I can't do it anymore.
I've got to head down to the station tonight.
And I think like, why get rid of something that's working? But that's very
because it's working.
America.
So shout out Cassie for her bravery and just really any and all survivors out there, victors, if you will, overcomers who have had the courage to speak up, which has given others the courage to speak up. And, you know, everything is alleged, of course, through line in there. However,
believe the victim.
They settled like the next
up.
Day.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's given. You make your own conclusions there. So shout out Cassie. Just wanted to have a moment.
Sending love and
light,
comfort, because people have to hash that up in literally less than 30 days now.
Peace and restoration.
Yep.
And courage and truth. And then this one is more fitting for what we're going to be talking about today. So
I had to get the sad one out.
Had to get that out.
But very important.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
And this one is, I saw something that said that Kylie Jenner, LOL.
I pay no attention to the Kardashian Jenners. I'm so sorry if I suck at this.
You'll know this though.
Okay.
Kylie Jenner and Jordyn Woods, who we really are here to talk about.
Okay.
they actually like that they said that their feud was fake. So when, Chloe got mad at her and everything and they like stopped being friends because now they've like reunited in the past this year. So the girls are saying they never stopped being friends. And so I was like,
I never knew they weren't friends.
Lord have
knowing?
mercy. No, okay,
Okay.
let me pull it back. Do you remember when allegedly Jordyn kissed Tristan Thompson, who is Khloe Kardashian's baby father?
Okay, yes.
Baby's father.
Then they were like,
bloop. Right. So allegedly, now the girls are saying they were never not friends, which I will say the closest that they had, and I don't really keep up with the Kardashians as much. I watched the new one a little bit on Hulu because I like the prison reform work and stuff that they're like featuring from Kimberly. But regardless, I could tell with Kylie, like she wasn't letting that go. She wasn't coming up off of that. Like that was like her best friend from childhood. Mm-hmm. And with Jordyn, I think it was a blessing in disguise, right? Because she really blossomed into her own, right. Was embraced by, of course, the Black community always there, like, let me pick you up, girl. And just really was able to just do her own thing. And now they've like come back together.
It's so sweet.
Isn't that sweet?
Even though it's weird that they said that they were always friends.
Well, I know.
But you think then that, like, to me, I'm like, if you're doing that in front of, like, was there actual accountability then?
For who?
For Jordyn, right? She's the one who kissed someone.
They say.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, they say. Well, I think she had more than her share because I think ultimately, this was everyone's different takes, not to be at the red wall. Either. Correct. And he just continued to cheat and continued to have babies. So it was like, okay, if you're going to be cool with Tristan, I think that's my theory. That Kylie was like, okay, I'm going to ride for my sister because blood is thicker than water. And then she started looking around like, now, wait a minute, because you had a second child through surrogate with this man. Meanwhile, he had another lady pregnant.
That's a lot.
So on the note of friendship breakups.
I'm glad they're sticking it out.
I'm glad they're sticking it out. And I'm glad that we stuck it out. But see? Yeah. You're talented,
good
kid.
Good segue.
You're talented.
Somebody give her a show. Somebody give her a network.
Are they listening?
A whole production company.
The powers that be. So, want to talk a little bit about, for the kids at home, Aleyna and I have been pals. Well, really, when did we meet? Like 2018? Nah, that's crazy. And so, fast, like,
2018.
Yeah, that's wild. 5 years in the making, right? So we had like a little mini hiatus, but I would say we'll talk about it from our perspective.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, a little hiatus. I wouldn't even say that it was like, I don't know. We'll get into it. So basically, long story short, I want to talk a little bit about it from like both of our perspectives. So obviously like we met at church and we had like, fast friends, honey. And then I would say like we were the best of the thickest of thieves, right? And we went through a lot of like growing up together individually as people and together as friends. And then also just surviving the panoramic, just numerous like first serious relationships for both of us at the same damn time. I don't know what that was.
You're writing it in my phone that it says ex-boys.
Oh my, not a list.
Literally surviving in ex-boys. Not boyfriends, not men, just ex-boys. We wish them
they
well.
were friends.
We wish them well.
Turns out they were enemies. Yikes. Anyway. And they tried to turn us into that, but we rose again. So
anyway, sorry.
Let's talk a little about like from both of our perspectives, the quote unquote, like what led to our hiatus. I was going to say the breakdown. That's dramatic.
The breakdown
of like, yeah, because I feel like we probably, and I think looking back on like that relationship for me, romantic relationship, and then with you, right? The way that I always recall it, like it was such like a severe heartbreak with that person. And the first one, as an adult with like a fully formed frontal lobe, so I couldn't just act a fool, which was like even worse because I was like, I know like wise decisions, got to make them. And kind of take the long way through this healing thing. And so for me, I remember the time that we like were on our hiatus, I would say to people like, it was like I lost two of my best friends at the same time. Yeah. I did. I lost my two best friends at the same time. Not like y'all passed, heaven forbid. But, tough titties for me. And I'm sure like we have different perspectives of how I got there. But I think in that relationship, there was a lot of codependency with he and I. And I think looking back, there probably was some with us, in different ways, like that weren't necessarily where our maturity level is now or like health level is.
Yeah.
But what was your perspective?
No,
on what got us there.
I feel like the same. I feel like I need to like go to my. I just made little scribbles because I like to just be
Oh my gosh, come on, notes.
present, but I'm also like can't. I want to make sure. Oh, I think we were like super connected very fast, and like we had really good, and we still do have great mutual friends, and so that was like it was just so nice to like find people where like we're always having fun, we're always doing something, whether we are going out somewhere or like staying in
literally on the couch turning up watching YouTube vids.
And for me, I think it absolutely like codependency was a big thing for sure, especially in panoramic.
Who wasn't codependent, who was independent at the time, but yes, let's blame it on that.
Really coming from like the place that we were in, if I'm like thinking back to it, like we were not in the best place from our life situations and from our relationship situations, and I think a lot of that was just kind of we were held back. Totally. I think we allowed that to like hold each other back, like we used each other as an excuse to hold ourselves back.
Really?
I think, yeah.
How so?
Just like you know when you ask someone like, should I do this?
Oh yeah. I was like, we got this going on right now.
You already know what you're gonna do.
Yeah, very true.
And then you're like, okay, but should I do this?
Yeah.
But do you think I should do? Do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah.
I think we were so should I do this to each other?
Yeah.
That we never actually were like, I think we're just already gonna, and then we get frustrated.
Oh, totally. I think it was the blind leading the blind in a way. And then I'll be like, why did I run into the wall? You should have said so. You tell me the wall was right there.
Yeah. And how so I think it was like, I think it was codependency, and then realizing like we had to like boundaries, like had to set our own boundaries, and maybe we didn't have boundaries. Probably not, LOL.
In many places in our lives, let alone like.
And so I think like when you are in a bad place. Or like not the best place, like, or if frustrated, like who do you take it out on? The one you love the most.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think
like I just be coming up with a reason to be mad. I'm like,
and so I think a lot of things that we wish we could have said to like the people that we were dating.
That's a really good point.
We were saying it to each other.
Oh my gosh, why am I getting emotional already? Oh shit. Okay.
And neither of us deserved that. And so I think that was like the perspective of like, what the heck is going on? Yeah.
With that, I think that's such an interesting point, and I think it makes so much sense. I guess like that's what's cool about perspectives, right? It's like opinions. Everybody's got one. But what would you say, like, or do you regret anything about like the way that we handled our friendship disintegration into a hiatus at the time?
I think so. Yeah. Totally. I wish I had done it in person and been like, this like is a how conversation.
Yeah.
But I also think at the time we were like, you were in like a weird place.
Yeah.
And so it was like really tough to be like, hey, I want to sit down and have a conversation.
Totally. I didn't have
without
the capacity
having
for
like
that.
one of our friends. Cause I'm someone who's like, I like having someone in the room. I like making sure that there's a mediator because I'm an Aries, you're a Leo. Like who's getting a word in?
Aleyna's very like cut. Like that's that Rochester. Like it's just is what it is. And it was what was so unique because I'm normally like, ugh! But with you, I enjoyed that. But then I think when I was like wounded, I couldn't take anything that wasn't like, how can we save your life? Like, you know what I mean?
Like, I don't think I deserve this right now.
Yeah.
And it was like hard because like you want to be there for somebody, but it's hard when like, again, like the person that you love the most, you're taking it out on them. And it was like, I don't know, like because I remember talking to my brother. I remember that day really vividly because I remember being like I'm trying, like I don't know what to do, like maybe we need to like sit down and blah blah blah. And my brother was just like, it's just like a weird spot for you to be in, and like a weird like energy between the both of you. I just really think you need space, like and she needs space, and like she might not like that you say that because it could mean she's gonna take it as the friendship's over. You know what I'm saying? And you did kind of, because you were like,
I would say in the moment not, but the Friendsgiving, I was like, oh, she don't want to be. Oh, okay, well, bye.
But
3 days later.
I don't know, like I was like, I just feel like I was like, my boundaries have been crossed, and like, her boundaries have been crossed too, because like you were also going through something that like you just weren't being treated well either. And I remember being
and we were so ill-equipped,
and I felt terrible. I was like, I don't want to be this person that's going, hey, let me also like leave you in a sense, which is not true. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was more like, we need boundaries.
Right.
Like, we need to separate to like
come back together.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah. So it was like, true. And so I remember my brother being like, it's just not a good environment for each of you.
It was spiraling.
He's very wise. Thanks.
Shout out, brother.
Shout out,
Appreciate
Dan.
That. Yeah.
But he was also like, and that's the only way I think you'll be able to survive. If you don't do something right now, because if you keep trying, you know, if you keep trying to go at something when both of us were not,
we're like just heads. Yeah, for sure. I think definitely, like, it's so hard sometimes because if I get in my like space, I'm like, I don't know how to sit down and talk about it, even though I know that that's what works. And so I think like it being over text and coupled with already, I think if you go into things with like the preconceived, like, okay, I'm taking it out on you, whether I know like blind spots or whatever, I knew that or not. I was like, see, aha, because in my mind, everyone's leaving me, or like the people that I care about right now are leaving me. And I'm like in this shit that I've never experienced and don't even know my like ass from a hole in the wall and how to like move through that or even breathe or even like get out of the bed for real. And yeah, I think I was like at my height of neediness, but then also I struggle with like not wanting to ever feel like a burden to people. So it was like, I don't know how to like ask for help. And then if I do, it's like, oh, you better come with the strongest help because I don't even ask anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like a shit situation because I definitely think, I remember, I feel like I'm like sitting there now. We're giving therapy, a little visit. But that would be like probably my advice too to anyone is just like try to have an actual conversation face to face, preferably, or on the phone, like to hear inflections in voices. And like we both, you know, have a vast vocabulary and we're both like wordy. So it just starts to be like, and versus like I can sit here and see you from people quickly. Yeah. It was like, I know she's going, because I know you very well. Yeah. I mean, that was the other issue. I'm still learning you now. You know what I'm saying? We're different. Yeah. But we grow. I knew you very well to be like, oh, I know how she's going to take it. Like, I know she's going to be like, haha, I knew it. Yeah. And my brother was like, and isn't that not good for either of you? And I was just like, yeah. And Jazz. Our good friend Jazz. Shout out Jazz. Jazz is really, she giving really, Don't Stop Believing. That's a question further on. I'm going to bring her up. Yeah, she will come up. Don't you worry. Because like there's no way to not do it. Well, okay, so then spoiler, we broke up. And I think like the way that I recall it was like, okay, us just kind of leaving this weird ass conversation over text and then being like, I guess this is it. And then, talking to other people would be like, well, I see where you're coming from. I was like, see? And you'd be like, I see where, and you were like, see? So we were just like, meh. Some things probably true. Some things like whatever. Yeah. And then like time just started going by. And like, that really is how it is. Yeah. I think that like with a limited capacity that I think we both were at a very, very low capacity threshold. It was like getting through the day. And then it was days, and then it was days, and then it was like, okay, well, it's too much time. And then you get prideful. And you lost two people at once, and then it was like, I lost one, and then one after. So like went through my breakup with my ex, and then, which was like, and this whole situation was not stewarded very well. Because I was just in a, like, the situation between us, I wasn't able to talk to him about it and be like, this is what happened. Totally. So there was no one really being like, oh yeah. Yeah. It was like just living with a friend. Anyway, we wish them best. But like, it was like, it wasn't, and like, I lost, then it was like, oh, I'm alone again. Yeah. And that's fine. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh, this is terrible, but it was a lot of like, I had to release attachments. And it was like, oh, I guess, okay, this is life. And my mom really helped me like to understand that you're people who are supposed to be there, it comes back around, like you find each other. And I think the thing that caused it not to be as quick of a reunion was like just like life. Like my job was like, I had to get a new job, and like it was just this terrible. Life just kept going on. Life wasn't like, okay, let me give them a minute to figure it out. I would also say, if we're gonna be like brutally honest, pride. Not, I don't can't speak for y'all, speak for me, but I think I
We're
call it
literally
pride
fire
now.
signs.
Yeah, I call it pride now, but I think in that headspace, it's really easy. And I'm bringing this up because I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. Like, oh, well, if you're not pressed, I'm not pressed.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'm gonna move right on. Like, oh, okay.
All right.
See, and then especially when you're in the space, abandonment trauma, everybody has, where you're like, everybody leaves. Not to be on my One Tree Hill, but everyone always leaves. And then when you left, I was like, and then I wasn't hearing none. I was like, oh, she been wanting to leave. Okay, then say less. Like, I was like, oh, well, let me not worry you.
And that's wild because my like past with friends have been like, I did not handle friendships breaking up very well. And like I've had like multiple, I can think to like a couple of people who like I was like, those are my best friends.
Yeah.
And then like just things not working out or things getting in the way.
Yeah.
And just like not handling those well. And so I was like just going through a lot of like I don't know, like, did I do it well? Like, how do I go back? Like, what do I do?
Totally.
And like just like a lot of like not guilt, not shame, because I knew we needed space. But at the same time I was like, oh no, this is happening again. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, is this just me? Like, is it me? Am I the problem?
Same. I feel like the
like,
space took us also.
Yes.
Which was like, you know, hindsight's 2020. But another thing that like regret wise or what we would change is like being able to be in a place, but you can't help when life is life. And like you, like ideally in your peak health, which who is these days, you would be able to be like, let's have a conversation. Let's figure out what this looks like. Yeah. Let's set a timeline, which also is like helpful for those who like are in a relationship or anything like abandonment.
And we did that.
Yeah.
Well, before too.
We did. That's why I was like, we just fell right on the part. We didn't have it in us. I didn't have a single sit down left. Nope. I couldn't even sit down in the bathroom, let alone like it was just too much. And so I fear. And so I think like being able, that's something that's really helped me is like, okay, this person is not leaving. Like if we have like okay, we're going to talk about this on Thursday. Yep. Do you know what I mean? Or we're going to call back in an hour, like having some type of, because I need my space, but if I get too much of it, I'll just shut down and shut it out. Yeah. And so that's kind of like what happened in between. Yeah. What do you feel like it was like, more specifically when we were apart, just in the sense of like, we kind of said, okay, what we were thinking, how we were feeling. But then obviously we had our mutual friend, Jazz, who was sort of always believing that we would rekindle. And I remember being like, okay. Because Jazz is so chill.
She was always like, Aleyna, you want to come to this thing? We're just going to be there. But like, if you don't want to go, it's okay.
Not like, I'm the plague.
No. But like, she was always like,
she's too chill.
I know that. But she knows us really well. Like, I know you want to go. And see her. But I know that she might feel weird, but wants to see you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's so true.
She's so
like,
funny.
she knows how to tiptoe around it. But I think she would never, she's so loyal.
There. Yeah.
Yeah. She wouldn't come back and be like, this is what we talked about. So because of that, I would only hear one side and I would be like, okay, well, are you telling her what she needs to be doing? You know what I mean?
She had so much discretion.
I know, but it made me be like, are you just wanting me to grovel?
She gave us, no, same though.
Yeah.
And
good for her. That's a good characteristic.
She gave us so much option. Like, I don't think we would have been able to like get back in the way we did without her.
Oh, absolutely not. That's no way.
Why, like, I think sometimes when friends go through like friendship breakups, like you really have to like then start seeing, like Jazz was able to see us. And you don't have a lot of people who are like, oh, I didn't realize. Like in the past couple of times I've had like a friendship break or breakup, I've never had someone be like, oh, but like they want to be your friend still. They want to get back together still.
Ever at all.
Yeah. Like, I know this was just
almost the opposite. Most people are like, yeah, well, you keep it moving too then.
And I'm like, I'm someone who's like, okay, well, good, bye.
Yeah, be blessed.
Yeah. I don't need you in my life. But yeah.
Oof, painful.
But I remember, so the question was, how was it like apart?
Yeah.
For me, like, it was terrible at first. I mean, like, okay, so two things. I was just in a terrible relationship where I was just taking care of someone. And so I had
a mother.
No ability to, just like you said, like I had no sit down left. I had no ability to be mediator I was like, I just need to like, I was in survival mode. Yeah. At that point.
Yeah.
And then finally being released of that, still being in not a good workplace. Right. Trying to be creative. But like after the pandemic, I was COVID 3 times. And it was just like my immune system was just shot. So it was like there was
no wonder I'm here.
Like my friend Nick, shout out Nick.
Yeah.
Literally saved me that like year 2021 2022 because I was like struggling bad jobs, and so I think I was just like, I don't have it in me. But the second thing is like, you know, on TikTok when they're like, when they ask like the girls like, what's your Roman Empire, like how often do you think of your ex-best friend? Like there was never like a, oh, that's my ex-best friend. It was just like I'd see something or I'd do something or I'd be with Jazz and I'd be like, I miss Marissa.
And like what makes me emo,
like Jazz was always like, she doesn't believe that. And I was like,
no, I was about to say that.
Right. It's okay, you're only.
I know. Bloop. I'm gonna zoom in
like,
on
she
that.
Doesn't believe that. And I was like, what?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's the next question. Perfect segue. Because I feel like we had shout out our friends like who kind of stepped in to hold us up in that absence, but it's like you can never really fill the hole.
Yeah.
You know? So shout out Maya and everybody else, but like.
But that's why it's so important. I think one of the things.
Tissues, dude.
Yeah. I think
it's
that's
okay.
why one of the things of like friendship is like you can't just have one person holding
at
you down.
All. That's a good note. Put that in there.
Because
you
I
have
feel like
to have the pie friendship.
And that's one of the things that I was like, that's why I like, was kind of like, I think we need space because I can't be the only person holding Marissa down. But then I realized, wow, like I have to make sure that like my one, like I can't have just one person holding me down either. Like relationship or friendship.
Right.
And that's super important.
It's hard to find the balance of like the pie friendship analogy where it's like, okay, this person does this, like, and they all serve different purposes. And I think that is how you keep from like burning people out. But it is hard when like the rubber meets the road and shit really gets hard. Sometimes you do just want the people that like know you to your core. And so you kind of like train up somebody new to do that. You know what I mean? Because there's other people that you could be like, we could go out, we could do whatever with. But it's like that just knows me before I can even say what I'm going to do or what I'm thinking. Like it's rare. And so I think ultimately that's probably what was the through line. Secretly we didn't know. But the next question in relation to that, now my lash is gonna come off, Lord, was with that, what made us want to try again? Ha ha ha. It's like we're having a baby. What made us want to try again? And what do we have to overcome to do that? I put parentheses pride for myself. I'll just say when we talk about like what actually allowed us to get to a place where we were ready to like try it again, have a sit down after not having the capacity to do that, was when our friend Izzy passed away at the beginning of the year. And of course, I just was like, don't want regret and I don't want life to go by. It just makes you be like, is this even what? Do you know what I mean? And then like seeing people lose their best friend. I just, don't let me get emo again. So that wasn't going to be an option. And so I started kind of talking to Jazz with all of her little underlings all along. And I was like, you probably just been saying this because like, obviously, you know what really I thought, I don't even tell you this. So when we went to Jazz's birthday in 2022, I thought like we were going to be cool again, right? Because it was funny because people were saying to me that were there, they were like, it's just so funny watching y'all because like y'all just know each other. And so it's like, even though we had literally not seen each other, which is crazy.
It was
so LA
weird.
Be giving so like
weird.
It was still just like falling back in. So I kind of was like, are we gonna do that thing? But I think it was a blessing in disguise because it didn't allow it just to sweep under the rug and just like fall back in, and allow to like
see each other
and have a conversation and not just be like, oh, we're cool from this one time that we were all out together. And like Jazz was like, that's how I knew I was opening too, because Jazz was like, I really want Aleyna to come, and I was like, it's your birthday. Which was like a big thing for me. I was like, don't let me get in the way. Come one, come all. You know? And that was big.
Totally.
And so anyway, so just essentially with that grief and that loss, I was like, look, the pride is not
priding.
It's not priding. It's not worth that anymore.
And it's crazy that like before like I feel like right after that I remember being like, oh man. And like
after the birthday?
And like before, I mean, it was a lot of all-mans. But like
fair.
After that, for sure, like after seeing you and like just like literally like
being in our mix.
you, I was like, oh, and like I feel like I saw a lot on like Instagram and like things that you were doing. It was just like I was just excited for you. And I was like, no matter like what happens, like I'm just like proud of her, and like I want like all the things that are like all the success that's happening to you to like just continue to grow, because like we see it, like our whole friend group has seen it from like the jump. Ditto. And so like I think once when your friend died, which I'm so sorry about that,
at 25 years old,
like oh my gosh, and I remember like before that being like, Jazz, like I miss Marissa, like I want to see like maybe if I can like talk to her or something, or like what do you think, like I remember asking her like put your ear to the street, how's she feeling, you know what I mean?
Oh, we're so prideful. Oh my gosh, like, we're too similar about some stuff. It's like whoa.
But I also think that's like not because we're fire signs, like it's just really not what we do. We're just like, okay, goodbye, move on from my life. Like I
everything
like,
is so final with us.
If I don't vibe, if like what is if I can't like continue to progress with like people in my life, and I'm not saying like you have to you have to do these grand things, but sometimes I'm just like that's good.
It's like, harder if I like don't trust you, if there's like it's like what are we doing
back and forth too,
it's not worth
like,
it. I'm tired, let's just find somebody else.
So I also think like that's why us being like so like we're like ride or die, like you were saying like, oh, we are people who like we just want to be around people who see us. Like we're so like it's just like you just come over and we hang out. Like there's no like
can exist.
Come over, clean, help out, like make something. Crazy. Do you need food? Have you eaten? Like we're just those kind of people that I feel like our pride was we were able to really just like fight that battle super fast. To be even
once
though,
we
like,
decided we were ready.
And I really think we needed the time apart for ourselves. Like not even like to be like a big fu to each other, because that wasn't in the cards, but like to really like give ourselves confidence in ourselves, like confidence in what we wanted in life, confident in what we wanted in people romantically, and like dealing with our families, making our own decisions. And so it was kind of like both of us, it kind of accumulated to like, oh, maybe we could do this again. And that's I think that's one of the biggest things about like having a friendship breakup. That's like one of the biggest tools is just being open to it happening again. Because like one of the like no one talks about friend breakups, but they always love talking about romantic breakups. And there's so many people who are often like, well, if we let each other go,
it's meant to be and we'll come back, twin flame.
Or like we're able to like go back to each other if you just let that happen. It's like people don't talk about that with friends, because I think sometimes friendships can be like way more severe than romance, because they're way more important. And so I think us like just being open to that is
the kicker. I wanted to say that made me just basically think that all along like God was conspiring behind the scenes, and I did not think so. But just you being in that space to be like, oh, I miss her, and like saying that to Jazz. So then when I brought up to Jazz, like, I feel this way, and Jazz literally said to me, like, she was just saying she misses you. And I literally started crying when I read the text, because in my mind, I was so convinced that like it was just me feeling that way. And I was like, well, what for? You know? So why? I think that is, that's something to think about too.
It can totally seclude you.
Oh, absolutely.
Totally isolate you. You're like, oh, well, they don't think about me at all.
Not I don't know why you think of that. True. I still struggle with that. But
I'm like, she's just living her life. I don't think she thinks about me at all.
That's what everyone thinks about me, and I struggle, like even dating wise. It just gives, but knowing me, I'm like internally. But people think she's like, I'm a cool
and like
girl.
I was at that point. I was like at a really bad job, and
mutually
like did not value me whatsoever. And I remember I didn't even leave the job yet, but I remember being like, I need to leave this job.
I need
and
to
like
scream.
I have a whole shout out my partner now. He is a whole ass man.
My man.
Like, because he had gone through this with somebody important to him, and he was like, if you have the opportunity to like do that, and both of you feel like you're in like a really safe, healthy space to do that.
About me?
About you, another Leo. Me just saying Leo and Aries, but it's like true. Like we're so stubborn and like just like
speak for yourself. That's the stubborn thing you say. Not me. I'm so weak.
But like I remember him being like, if this is something, you should do that, because like it's the same as like we're only here for so long, and like we only get like
one life to live.
Yeah,
Hashtag YOLO.
I was gonna say one shot. I was like, what? We have
Okay, Eminem.
we have multiple shots in life, but like, just like making sure that like, hey, if you want it to happen, just like go see. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think people really like reach out.
Yeah.
Ever. And thank God
like
for
that's
Jazz.
okay.
She was like, "You want to go to this? You want to do this?
Yeah.
Let's go do this." I was like, "Oh my gosh, okay." But she also like gave us such a space to do it ourselves. Like she wasn't like, "Oh, you need to reconcile at the party that I'm inviting you both to."
Or else. Yeah.
Like, no.
So with that though, I would say, so we'll go to, it's time to open some bids. So bids on our show are just questions, letters, etc. If you have a question or anything you want to let us know, email us at bidonu@gmail.com. We may answer them on the show. So since we're kind of going that way anyway, I figured we might as well help some of the folks at home. So they asked, or we could just give advice to anyone watching who wants to reach out, as we just spoke about, but is scared or doesn't know how.
So like if you don't have a mutual friend, like if you have a mutual friend, like just put some feelers out. Yeah. Yeah, because honestly, more often than not, they're thinking about you. Because
that's good.
When it comes to romantic relationships, like
it's a lot layers there.
Really see how that relationship like affected you.
Yeah.
Like, don't go back into it because, like, you're like, oh, I'm sad and lonely, and, like, that person knows me. It's like, no. But, like, friendship, I feel like it's very possible to be like, like, I know they're probably, like, thinking about me as much as I'm thinking about them. And I don't think it's, like, was thinking about you type of thing. No, that's weird. I think it's got to be, like, put some feelers out. Yeah. But then, like, also, like, send them a message. Like,
swallow your pride.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's like give them a call because like I don't know your friend.
I would be like,
you know what I mean? Like if I called you, I'd be like,
I think put the feelers out. I would be like, I'd probably be like, who's dead? But that's a lot of trauma. But I think put the feelers out for sure. I think swallowing the pride, and I think what you said is like something that I've learned in this moment of like, not assuming the worst on the other side and taking time to heal to be able to do that.
It was like your birthday or my birthday, but like we said happy birthday to each other. So it's like use those moments to your advantage because I know that like in a romantic relationship,
I told you happy birthday and you were like, congrats on your new job. It was like what you said earlier, like we still love each other. And I think that is what's crucial to discern, like, is there still love there that can be gone about in a healthy way?
Because like in a romantic relationship, you know, like people be really
trying to get in that door.
They
happy
really
Easter was thinking of you.
Yeah, that's not, you can tell when that happens. And maybe you could tell that when that happens with the friendship, but I feel like it was like, this is like our little
breadcrumb
pride. Yeah, like the little moving the pride away.
Oh, totally.
Just to be able to be like, hey, congrats.
Just miss
you, but like I hope that you can
read a tiny violin, the tiniest violin you've ever seen in your life.
So I say like reach out, like if it wasn't, you know what I mean, if you feel like you're in a good spot where you can do that, just reach out. Like we only live one life. Yeah, it's super important. Or like it's okay if you don't ever continue with that. Sometimes
sometimes it needs to stay broken up.
Yeah,
so you have to assess that.
Yeah, and
which is literally that's the next question. Perfect. Because it literally, look at you. It's like, you know. It's how do I know if the friendship is worth saving / revisiting, or if I should just let it go?
My shout out my brother again. He really is like, we really have like really decent conversations about this stuff. The only way I can I can describe it to you is like, if you're in a job and like you mess up. And like it just causes you like so much stress and so much aggravation because you think someone's gonna say something or someone's gonna come for your character or do whatever. You're not in a good place. Like you're not in a good job. And I feel like when you come from a place where it wasn't necessarily healthy, codependent, you probably felt that way about like your situation with your friend. I think when you can look at it and go, I don't feel that way anymore. And I feel like if that was to happen again, I have the ability to
handle it differently.
And better. I think that's how you know, like, oh, Like, because I remember being like, we handled this like not the best.
Yeah.
I know we needed it, but I think it could have been handled way better.
100%.
But especially because we sat down, because we were like, let's get coffee. And when we sat down, I remember being like, if anything, because you were like, what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
It's like
it was like a first date. I was
like,
nervous.
What's gonna happen? And I was like, I think if we can really just like know if we're getting to that point of like codependency or putting each other on a pedestal or whatever it may be, like we have the ability to be like, see, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like we're not perfect. Like maybe we just need space. Yeah. Maybe we need to like hang out another day. Yeah. That's super healthy. Whew.
Super healthy. Boundaries. I'm so tired of being grown. It's exhausting. And then I just wanted us really, really quick to do what we are excited about now that we're back and better than ever. Moving forward. For me, I would say I'm excited to open up trust again, to like figure out restructured boundaries in the sense of I can share things with you and not feel like, oh shit, if it's not good, like I don't want a burden, I'm scared. Like I can let that go and find a way to like share my life with you in a way that's healthy for both of us.
Yeah. And like I feel like I'm excited for like reintroduction because like I always
a new birth.
I was literally telling my friends this the other day. I always make this analogy. When you're young, your parents buy you specific things, or like your friends or whatever buy you specific things that you like. But when you're older, and if they bought you the same gift, you'd be like, I don't like this anymore. What do I do with this? It's like
that's fire.
That's how
come on, somebody.
We need to like get to know our friends every day. It's the same with romantic relationships. Like people just change,
and like, you're changing. You're getting to know yourself.
And like a lot of times, you don't. Like when you're trying to like make friends or like connection, sometimes you kind of put on some bullshit and you're like, oh, this is, and then you're like, wait a minute, that really wasn't me, but you have to like kind of be
and I don't want to carry it anymore. So what does it look like?
And so you're like, this is who I am. Like, and I could change, and like maybe even your influence or people's the way that they live their truth, like that changes me. So like this is who I am now. Like, give me the right Christmas present. Right. But like that's always what I think about, and like I'm excited to be able to like tell you like it is and know that you're not going to be like, oh, she's doing this to like put me down. Yeah, she's doing it.
I'm excited for that too.
And you already have been doing that.
I feel like that made me excited, which in the past would have made me like, oh, gross, look at that.
I've already been like,
literally,
girl, what do you think?
I'm like, hey, well,
like, so what about this? And I'm like,
I'd be like, so strict. Damn, loosen up. Let's have some fun. I know it's bad, but I just want to pretend for a minute. Yeesh. Anyway, she stay on my neck. That's one thing. And then in closing, we like to do this thing with our guest before you leave.
This thing.
And I'm excited that now we together, I can support you in it. I'm gonna hold you to it.
To hang out.
Literally, this could be you. Get to it. How are you going to
smacking this thing
like? How are you going to bid on you moving forward?
How am I going to bid on me? Just not trying to produce things because that's what kind of world we live in. And not doing things like I'm not really scared to lose.
Period.
Anything. Like if I feel like I need to stand up for things I need to stand up for, speak for people who don't have a voice. Right. Write in ways that I like ask for help and make things in ways that like just really shine a light on stuff. Like I don't care to lose because like really what did I lose? I guess I gained.
You can't lose something you never had.
Exactly. And you can't lose something that really wasn't for you. Like if I'm bidding on me, I'm not scared to lose the bids of people who didn't really bid on me. Ooh. Have fun. Enjoy life.
Live life. Have fun. You're doing amazing, sweetie.
You get to
be here. You're talented and you woke up another day for a reason.
That's what I'm saying. I think people think that that's like a new age personal growth thing, but like
it's
that
literally
hurts
true. Yeah.
To be able to be like, I woke up and some people didn't. What do we do now? You know?
What do we do now?
Without it being like, oh, I need to change the world. It's like if I'm like just
changing the world that I'm in.
Yeah.
And those around me.
To be alive. Like that's just super important. It changes your whole day. I don't want to do things alone anymore. Like, I want to be like in community. I'm tired of like
It's
individualism.
not meant
like,
to be that way. That's why we're so damn tired.
I'm done with that.
So friendships, no breakups.
My friends are like, what are you working on? I'm like, I don't know. What do you want to work on?
Us.
Yeah. What do you want to work on? You know, creatively. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do it by myself. Like, of course I have ideas and I'm my own person. I have my own ideas.
Right.
But I'm like,
it's sweeter together.
Let's collab. Yeah.
Let's hashtag collab.
Let's collab.
And on that note, thanks for watching and collabing with us. The camera is crooked. We love you. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
I love you more.